Hi, Dr. Rudy Kachmann. Thank you for watching our post here on wellness again this week. I have a very interesting subject for you, and it is very important. I speak to very few people, especially women, which this subject is more important, who really know what I'm going to speak about today. So please share this with your friends, and if you need, and take action yourself. I wrote a book a few years ago called Breast Cancer Prevention is the Cure. You're going to find this very interesting. What I'm saying here, which is based on the Mayo Clinic breast cancer book, also on Susan Love's book, so this is full of science. This is not just an opinion, this is scientific information. That if, and men get breast cancer too, so don't think it's completely women, okay? And you can prevent and cut the incidence of breast cancer 50 to 70%. Yeah. Very few people I speak to know this. Women need to know this, but men get breast cancer also by doing the following things, and we'll go down the line and explain them to you. Number one, not to smoke, not to consume more than 2 or 3 drinks a week, say 2 or 3 glasses of wine. I'm not telling you to drink. I'm just saying if you do more than that. What they found actually, that for each extra drink you were to take a week, say like 4, you increase the breast cancer rate 7%. Wow, that's a bit scary. So not smoking, not drinking, and having a reasonable weight, okay? Another one is that you not get exposed to too many toxins. For example, people who've had radiation for, say, lung cancer, they have increased rates of breast cancer. Yeah. If a woman that has more children actually has less breast cancer, that's very interesting. And breast cancer is determined by the length of time that you are exposed to estrogen, okay? That affects the rate greatly. So if you have a child, for example, that drinks a lot of milk, the milk from cows today is full of hormones. So if your child's a milk drinker, they'll have increased rates of type 1 diabetes. That's in Dr. Spock's book, big time. And also, they will have their period a lot sooner, 8, 9 years of age, some 7 years of age. That, of course, produces estrogen, and the length of time they're exposed to breast cancer increases the rate. So if you can eliminate 50 to 70% of breast cancer by doing this and eating, say, a nutrient-dense way of eating, which I will describe to you what that means, you can cut back breast cancer 50 to 70%. What a wonderful thing. But I would like you to read this book to get the information, and refers you to other information if you want to know more about that. Let me tell you something too. There's about 220,000 cases of breast cancer in the nation. Okay, and part of that increase in the incidence is growing because we're detecting it better. But the trouble is, when they detect it earlier, you still get breast cancer. Okay, and they now have found actually that about 60 to 100 genes, your DNA, your script, determines breast cancer. It's not just one gene. You know, we give all the money to research in Indianapolis, and that's great, that's wonderful. But when they discover that one drug from which they're probably going to spend $1 billion to find it, to try to find it, that one cured. It'll take 50 or 60 drugs. So what's your better investment for you yourself? To be of a normal weight, not to smoke, not to drink, not to get exposed to too many toxins in the world, which increase breast cancer rate. So in a normal weight is important, but and so we get 20,000 cases, 40,000 people a year die from breast cancer. It need to be only half that. Suppose you have some of the genes that increase the incidence, okay, the BRCA gene. But frankly, if you exercise a bit, you don't do the other habits, the gene has much less expression. Yeah, most breast cancer actually occurs after age 50, about 80% of it. So if you inherited the BRCA gene, for example, that's 2-3% of the people have one gene. So say it's running in your family, but the gene has to express itself. DNA sends out 2.8 billion messages, okay? When you're born, you've had only 3% of your gene expression. Your messenger, your script writer that writes the book of your life. Yeah. So prevention is huge. Dr. David Katz, the biggest public health doctor in this country, says so right in the cover of his book. 80% of vascular disease, 90% of diabetes, 50 to 70% of breast cancer can be avoided by watching what you put on your fingers, how you use your fork, and how much you exercise. And he's the biggest public health official in the nation. So on top of these 2 books, which I recommend, including my own, tell you 50 to 70% of breast cancer is avoidable. Even if you have it, remember, screening is great, but when they pick it up, you got it already. And it's so common, so to avoid it, they found when they autopsied women that just died of any cause, they autopsied them, you know what they found? 39% of them have some changes in their breast cancer. Isn't that interesting? So avoidance is huge. And we're speaking a great deal, if there's a genetic component to yours, of gene expression, because you're eating the wrong food. You're eating processed food. So what type of food you should be eating? 70-80% vegetables and fruit, okay? 20% meat. But people who eat meat 7 days a week, increased rates of breast cancer. People who don't exercise, increased rates of breast cancer. People overweight, because fat has an estrogen, increased rates of breast cancer. But we should take this opportunity to act on it. This is not, for some reason, common knowledge, and so be sure to tell your friends about it. You can go onto my YouTube shows, KachmannHealth.com. YouTube shows, I have 1-hour lectures there on breast cancer prevention. You might have a look at that. And then, incidentally, cancer is a sugar feeder. Yeah, Otto Warburg in the 1930s proved that cancer cells need 12 times as much sugar as non-cancer cells. So sugar is the booger here, okay? That's the main, it's not thought that fat really causes increased rates of breast cancer. But if you're eating it and you're overweight, of course, that's calorie dense. But sugar really is the main thing. The other thing Dr. Joe Furman has in his books on preventing breast cancer is too, that a woman were to eat a big slice of fresh onion every day and eat 1 mushroom per day, because aromatase, which is in mushrooms, that breast cancer is prevented 80 to 90% of the time. 1 slice of fresh onion, 1 mushrooms, because the onions are full of sulfones and aromatases, also a very healthy thing to do. So today I provided great information for you. Please act on it and gather some more information, perhaps by reading my book, by reading Susan Love's book, or the Mayo Clinic breast cancer book, or read Dr. David Katz's book, Disease Proof, I think is the name of his book, and you'll have a much better life. But you have to act on it. And the reason I do these weekly presentations to you, I love you, I care about you. and prevention, and here's a real opportunity. Thank you so much for watching. Namaste.